Everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review, and today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends 6-inch classic cable figure from Hasbro. Now this figure is part of the new wave of Deadpool figures hitting shelves now. It comes in a window box, same like we've seen with all the previous Marvel Legends. Up at the top you've got the Marvel Legends series logo, the figure's clearly displayed. Down below you've got that Deadpool logo and the name of the character. On the side of the packaging you have some artwork for Cable, and then on the back of the packaging you have a look at the actual figure, a brief bio in multiple languages, and then down below a look at all the figures that you need to get in order to complete the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure. Alright, let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside the packaging along with the other contents. Now first of all, this figure comes with the left leg for the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure, and I'll be taking a look at Sasquatch in its own review once I've looked at all the figures in this wave, so be sure to check back for that. Now for the figure itself, we get 3 different weapons. So Cable, especially in his early days, was known for carrying around big giant rifles and pistols and stuff. So Hasbro has actually delivered us some nice looking Cable-like weapons with this figure, and these are done with a dark gray type plastic, and you've got some pretty nice sculpting detail. This is the biggest of the 3 weapons that he comes with, and you've got some scratch marks here on the side, and again pretty nice sculpting detail on this thing. It is feels like a hollow plastic, so it's not super heavy or anything, even though it is pretty big. And then he also gets this smaller weapon. This looks more like a shotgun of some type. It's got a number of different barrels, so maybe a Gatling gun type deal, I don't know. And then another pistol or shotgun type weapon that he comes with, but this is the smallest of the 3 weapons that he has. Now unfortunately Cable only comes with 1 grip hand, so he'll only be able to hold 1 weapon at a time, but he does have a trigger finger that fits nicely for the weapons. And then the left hand is an open hand. I guess they made it open so he could hold like the bigger rifle and stuff, but as it is, like I said, he can only hold 1 of the weapons at a time. Now they've given you this little holster on the side. It's just kind of a loop on his belt that you can slide the smaller pistol into, and then you've got a little peg, or you actually have a hole on the big rifle, and then you've got this peg that sticks out the back on his shoulder harness, and so you can plug that weapon in. Now technically they really haven't given you a place to put the 3rd weapon, but if you want you can just kind of slide it into his harness here on the back. So again, even though technically they didn't make it to store it there, you can, and it looks fine. So you can actually kind of store all 3 weapons on the figure if you want to. Okay, so for the figure itself, I've got to say that Hasbro's done a really nice job with this head sculpt. This is probably my favorite Cable head sculpt that we've gotten to date for the Marvel Legend line. I think it captures the character's likeness nicely. Now he's got that kind of telekinesis thing coming out of his eye, that energy effect coming out of his eye, and that's done with a rubbery type plastic, a semi-translucent yellow type plastic, and it's just glued to the eye, so it's not removable or anything. And then for this eye it's just white, and you've got the scars around it. He's got the gray eyebrows, and I like the sculpting of the hair. I think that looks good, and it's that kind of white grayish hair. And then he's got this communication device that's attached to his left ear, and that's not removable, and it's done with a kind of a flexible rubber type plastic. And then again, I like the way the hair looks and everything. Definitely like this head sculpt better than the previous Cable that we got from Hasbro. And then the only other Cable figure that I have is an older Toy Biz one, but again I think this new head sculpt is definitely better than that one. And for the figure itself, this is basically, Cable's had a lot of different looks over the years, but I would definitely call this reminiscent to his classic original look. I wouldn't necessarily quite call it a Rob Liefeld Cable, just because I'm not sure those shoulder pads are quite big enough. That's definitely something Cable was known for, and they definitely do give him some pretty big shoulder pads, but again, when Liefeld drew Cable, he had really big shoulder pads. But these pads are connected to the belt, and they are a separate piece, and they're made with that kind of rubber material, and you can actually unhook the belt back here and remove it if you want to. And you've got these pouches on here, and just some brown that looks like actual leather, and then you've got some green striping here, and you got the bullets over here, which are done with metallic gold and everything. So nice sculpting detail with that. He's got this X-Men type thing that he's wearing around his neck. Basically all the characters back in the 90s had X's on their outfit, so Cable did as well. and this is where they put it around his neck. This is actually a separate piece, so if you wanted to pop the head off and take this off, you could. And it's done with a gray color with blue that matches the rest of his shirt. Now I do believe this is a modified, this sculpt is a modified Hyperion mold. You've got those double holes on the back. Now he's got the metal arm over here, and then he's got the gray gloves that he's wearing. This arm is skin tone, and you've got some veins and stuff. And then he's again just got the blue shirt that he's wearing, and then these brown pants, and he's got the straps on both legs with pouches and stuff. You know, definitely Cable in his original days was known for pouches and big shoulder pads and all that kind of thing. So I think Hasbro's done a pretty nice job capturing that look here. He's got the knee pads with some sculpting detail. Now the knee pads are the exact same color as the rest of the pants. And then he's got the dark brown boots with some nice detailing with laces and everything on there. Now this figure stands about 7¼ inches tall if you count to the top of his head. If you count to the top of that antenna device, then it's a little bit taller, not quite 7½ inches. Okay, and here's a comparison with the previous Hasbro Marvel Legend Cable figure and then that older Toy Biz Cable figure that I have, and this new Cable figure is the tallest of the three. Here's a comparison with the previous Deadpool figure from the Juggernaut wave. Here's a comparison with Cable's evil twin, the Hasbro Marvel Legends Strife figure. And while it doesn't work perfectly because you still have that antenna piece that sticks out the left ear, if you wanted an unmasked Strife, you can take the head sculpt from this new Cable figure and it will fit on that older Strife figure. And then finally, here's a comparison with fellow X-Force team member and Rob Liefeld inspired character Shatterstar, and I would say the scale between these two is pretty good. Okay, so for articulation, you can turn the head to the left and to the right, and then he can look down pretty good. Even with this collar piece on, he can still look down pretty good, and he can also look up pretty good. Now this little piece lifts up when you have him look up, but again, it doesn't really limit his actual head movement, which is nice. You don't get a whole lot of pivot to the left and the right with this one though. Arms attached with your standard ball hinge joint there at the shoulder, so you can get his arm out about that much. And then you've got rotation, and you can still rotate all the way around even with these big shoulder pads. He's got a bicep swivel, so good rotation there, and then he's got a double hinged elbow, so he can bend his elbow about that much. And then you've got rotation at the wrist and hinges on the hand, so you've got up and down movement there. He has an ab crunch type joint, so he can crunch down about that much, and then he can look back about that much, and you get some clicky noise with this one. You've got a waist swivel. He can do the splits only about that much though, and then he can get his leg forward good, and then can do his leg back about that much. Does have a thigh swivel, double jointed knee, so good bending there at the knee, and then with the feet, then you get a boot cuff swivel and hinges on the feet, so up and down movement, and you do get ankle pivot and 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so that's my review. So overall, I definitely liked this figure. I really like the head sculpt, and the overall figure itself I think is nicely detailed and looks pretty true to that classic look for the character. I even like the weapons they included with this one. And I'd probably go as far as to say this is now my favorite Cable figure, definitely my favorite Marvel Legend version. I know Diamond Select Toys recently did a classic Cable, and I don't have that one, so I can't give you a comparison, but from what I've seen, that one does maybe seem a little more detailed, but I do think the articulation is probably better on this one. So again, I think this is probably my favorite Cable figure as of right now. Now this figure, along with the rest of the wave, has started to see a limited release at places like Toys R Us. Places like Big Bad Toy Store should be getting this wave in stock either at the end of this month or early next month. So if you haven't seen it yet, you should definitely start seeing these figures more towards the end of the month or early next month. We'll have a full image gallery up at marvelousnews.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. Also, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. You can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to those in the video description as well. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.